How's it going, everybody? Today I want to start off with a couple Q proofs, and then I'm going to go into my thoughts on everything going on with the coronavirus hysteria right now and see if we can connect a few dots. Now, I want to start off going back to Q Post 3892, where in my last video I talked about the movie Silent Running and how I thought that that's what this was pointing to. Now, a lot of you pointed out in the comments that Silent Running is also a naval term, is also a submarine term, and I think that definitely could be a dual meaning of this, but it is of note that on March 10th, 5:53 p.m., the U.S. Naval Institute posted this. OTD in 1972, Silent Running, starring Bruce Dern, was released. The sci-fi movie was filmed in part on the decommissioned Essex-class aircraft carrier USS Valley Forge, shortly before the ship was scrapped. To honor the carrier, the spaceship in the film was named the Valley Forge. Wow. They are really... Clearly, they are really upping the Q proofs lately. I think they realize that this is the time. This is right now is the most important time ever to realize that the QAnon posts are coming from the White House and that it's real and that it's going down. Like Q said just a few weeks before that, you have come far, Anon's Patriots. You're ready. We are ready for this. And if you come down right here, February 17th, to be blunt, game over. Well, 23 days later, Harvey Weinstein gets 23 years in prison. Exactly 23 days after Q said, to be blunt, game over. It's starting. It's here right now. And I believe 8:30 was a marker. This is another 2-year Delta Q-proof, future-proofs past. Holy freaking crap. March 3rd, 2018. What'd I say? A class action lawsuit? March 3rd, 2020, exactly 2 years to the day, Q said class action lawsuit. When is it effective? The Trump campaign opens a class action lawsuit against the Washington Post. Boom. Now, we'll come back to this post in a minute, because yesterday on March 11th, the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus officially a pandemic, sending the public's hysteria into full high gear. Also on March 11th, Tom Hanks announced that he had the coronavirus, further freaking out the public and making them realize, oh my God, it is real. Now, he did it with this creepy picture of this glove in this trash can, which is what Tom Hanks does. All the times, just random socks, random shoes, random gloves. This is what this guy does, which is interesting to me because I have never in my life seen a random picture of a glove or a shoe or anything. I mean, maybe once I could think of, but every other freaking month? I mean, this is just strange. It's very strange. And if you remember, he had made this post back on April 4th, 2019, with the caption, Historic Route 66, Roadkill? I hope not. Hanks. Now, if you remember, in summer of 2018, a low-level actor, Isaac Happy, who had been in Terminator Salvation and Thor, just minor roles, had to come out and accuse Hollywood of being rampant with pedophilia, accusing people such as Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. Well, about 1 month after Tom Hanks posted this historic Route 66, Roadkill, I hope not, picture that has a cat, looks like a water bottle cap here with a P on it. If you look at that, it's got a P, Cap P, with a glove on the road, historic Route 66. Isaac Happy jumps to his death allegedly on Route 66. Roadkill, Cappy, Route 66. What kind of makes you wonder about these other gloves, huh? Or this. Curious that he was just happened to be out of the country when this happened. Seems a lot of celebrities are starting to get out of the country. Also, on March 11th, the very same day, Rudy Gobert of the Jazz, who had called attention to the coronavirus by making a joke and then touching everything and calling attention to himself, he just happens to be the guy in the NBA that suddenly also has the coronavirus. And oh my God, we got to shut down the NBA now. All on the same day. It just happened to be the one guy who was joking about it. How ironic. Give me a break. You are watching a movie, an actor and an athlete, a perfect representation of their two biggest controlled distraction psyop industries, sports and Hollywood, coupled with the World Health Organization declaring it a pandemic, maximum panic all at once. What are the odds? All three on the same day? And what's the outcome? The economy takes a huge hit. People are saying, oh, this is going to hurt it for years moving forward, which is fortunate for them because that's Trump's biggest selling point going into 2020. It also scares people away from rallies, which is simultaneously Trump's biggest strength and Biden's biggest detriment. I mean, every time Biden goes on stage, he messes up or says something stupid. He's literally, just in the last couple weeks, this guy's given us enough clips forever. And there already was enough clips forever going back to the 80s. So not being able to hold rallies is a huge win for Biden and a huge loss for Donald Trump. And Biden's their only hope. I mean, you see it. They're all throwing their weight behind them now. Even Kamala Harris, who just came out and endorsed him, she was straight up calling him a racist, attacking him bad in the primary.
So I just wanted you guys to know, because you've been supporting me for so long, and I just wanted you guys to know I have decided that I am, with great enthusiasm, going to endorse Joe Biden for president.
Yeah, look how enthused she looks.
I believe in Joe. I really believe in him, and I have known him for a long time. One of the things we need right
Blink
now.
Blink twice if you're in danger. I want to know. Someone's definitely holding a gun off screen.
And who can therefore unify the people. And I believe Joe can do that. I am supporting Joe because...
Yeah, because they're making you. So again, it takes away Trump's biggest weapon and saves Biden from himself. A win-win. While also crashing Trump's economy. How fortunate. Boy, they sure are lucky. But now if we go back to Q Post 830, which was called to our attention last week with the 2-year Delta, it has quite the relevant revelation. Who controls the narrative? WHO, the World Health Organization, capitalized. Who just completely shifted the coronavirus narrative into high gear? The World Health Organization. And just where is the World Health Organization's headquarters located? Right down the block from CERN, right here. Here's the World Health Organization headquarters, and here is CERN. Here you go, World Health Organization, Geneva Airport, and CERN. Literally, here are all their entrances. Right over here, and here's the World Health Organization right here. Right in Illuminati occult heaven, Switzerland, where the rich, organized crime, and deep state hoard all their money in gold, no questions asked. Switzerland, one of the most prevalent places for the occult. I mean, just look at this railway opening ceremony from a few years back. Yeah, because this is apparently how you're supposed to open a train station. You know, I must have missed this when they redid Penn Station a couple years ago. Oh, and there's the Baphomet. Holy crap. Dude, guys, this is totally normal, okay? Listen, having satanic occult ceremonies when opening up a transportation project is really just, this is what you're supposed to do, all right? This is the World Health Organization symbol, a snake. Just like how the Pope has a twisted up snake, just like on the Baphomet, twisted up snake. Just like all the medical symbols have been. I mean, going back to ancient Greece, these symbols have been right in our face for millennia. Right down the block on the other side of the airport is CERN, and in their courtyard is a commissioned statue of the Hindu goddess of time, Kali, standing on Shiva, together doing the dance of destruction. You see, another of Shiva's fearsome forms is Kala, time, and Mahakala, great time, which ultimately destroys all things. The name Kala appears in the Shiva Sahasramana, where it's translated by Ram Karan Sharma as the Supreme Lord of Time, terrible or frightful, is a fierce form associated with annihilation. Say, why is Lord Shiva depicted as the Lord of Time? Well, Kali Mata was named Kali because she is wife of Lord Shiva, who is said to be Lord of Time. And what is all the other stuff that always comes out? The Cult of Saturn. Saturn is the god of time. And here, right at CERN, where everyone's fairly convinced shady stuff is going down, that they're not just looking for particles, that they're trying to mess with dimensions and portals and all this weird stuff, is the goddess of time, Kali, doing the dance of destruction on the back of Shiva, Kala. And here's from back in 2013, I believe, where they projected Kala onto the Empire State Building. But while the World Health Organization is ramping up the narrative, along with Tom Hanks and the NBA, guess what no one's talking about? Corey Feldman's documentary, which came out on March 10th, and Weinstein's sentencing, which occurred the morning of March 11th, which got him 23 years. Basically a death sentence. I mean, he more than likely will die in jail. What curious timing for the trifecta of coronavirus panic. And all this time leading up to that, leading up to Weinstein's sentencing, leading up to this documentary coming out, which is pretty damning, I would say, to Hollywood. Nothing with the NBA then, nothing with Hollywood. And then all of a sudden, the very next day, all three at once. The World Health Organization declares it a pandemic, freaking everyone out. Tom Hanks, almost everyone's favorite actor, says, oh, I got the coronavirus, freaking everyone out. The NBA says a player has the coronavirus and that they're canceling the season, freaking everyone out. All in the same day. No one talking about Weinstein. No one talking about Corey Feldman's documentary. I just thought that was quite also interesting timing. And what I like to call them is change the narrative distractions. That's the name of the game for these people. I mean, look what they did. Russiagate, Russiagate, Russiagate. And after they exhausted Russiagate for all it was worth, they moved right on to impeachment hysteria with these whistleblowers that no one knew their name, which lasted all summer and fall until finally they passed it December 19th. It was obviously going to get shot down in the Senate, so you figure that's it. It's over. For the first time since Trump has been elected, there's about to be no grand distraction. It'll go to Senate, get denied, and Trump will finally be freed up. Since the moment he's been in, it was Russia, Russia, Russia for years. Then it was impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. Now, finally, once the Senate denies this, Trump is free. No distractions. People could actually see the good he's doing. Well, nope. Instead, Nancy Pelosi decides to stall on handing them over for almost a month, in what seemed at the time like an attempt to delay the inevitable. Well, what happened while she was stalling for those 3.5 weeks? That just so happens to be the exact time the coronavirus started. First reported on December 31st and said it had been going around for a couple weeks. What a coincidence. January 15th, they finally delivered the papers, and right after that, the first case is confirmed in the United States. But no one noticed because the news was 24 hours a day impeachment talk, and in the morning of Kobe Bryant, who died on January 26th. Curiously, only a couple days after Q had posted state funeral. No explanation. State funeral is a public funeral ceremony observing the strict rules of protocol held to honor people of national significance. State funerals usually include much pomp and ceremony as well as religious overtones and distinct elements of military tradition. Generally, state funerals are held in order to involve the general public in a national day of mourning after the family of the deceased gives consent. A state funeral will often generate mass publicity from both national and global media outlets. Now, obviously, this is usually for like a statesman or something, but Kobe Bryant is one of the top 3 basketball players in the world in the prime of his life, and literally just a handful of days, 3 days after Q had posted state funeral. Now, a big name dying causing said distraction was a pretty safe bet at this point. I mean, if they ever needed a monumental distraction, it was at this exact time in history. But all week, the news was 24 hours coverage of Schiff and Nadler and their case against President Trump, blasted on every channel everywhere. And then, on January 26th, the exact day Trump's defense team takes the stand, Kobe Bryant dies. Zero coverage for the defense. Now, does that mean I think they took him out? I don't know. There was a lot of shady stuff surrounding his death, to be honest. But from the public's perspective, they got 2 weeks of why Trump is horrible and needs to be impeached hysteria, followed immediately by the death of one of their most beloved superstars. Right after that, Trump is exonerated and no one even got to hear his defense. Just hardcore, non-stop Trump bashing coverage followed by non-stop, heartbreaking Kobe coverage. Then the man they all hate getting off scot-free, infuriating them even more. And then bam, before anyone can even process any of it, the news goes straight into total coronavirus panic mode. I mean, the psychological impact of such non-stop pounding of people's emotions has to be huge. And while all that was going on, Trump took out the top terrorist in the Middle East, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and signed a peace treaty to end the Afghanistan war. You know, like how he made peace in North Korea, officially ending the Korean War, getting the fallen soldiers' remains shipped home to their beloved ones after 70 freaking years. You know how he also took out the leader of ISIS and ended the Syrian war? Nah, because that's when the impeachment hysteria was at full peak. And ending the Korean War doesn't jump out to anyone because only a few days after that, the kids in cages hysteria, which they had all known about for years but waited for the right time to use it, popped up. Distractions. They need constant distractions. You got a guy in office right now ending wars, killing terrorists, bringing industry back, ramping up the economy, and going after their money schemes. If it weren't for these distractions, 80% of the country would be MAGA right now, guaranteed. And he's doing it again. Trump offers 0% payroll tax rate for the rest of the year. And of course, the news is trying to spin it as a bad thing. Could you imagine? But this is the Illuminati's biggest piggy bank, our taxes. And of course, the news is trying to spin it as a bad thing. Could you imagine? No federal income tax for 3/4 of a year, hundreds of dollars a paycheck in your pocket, and they're trying to tell people it's bad. I mean, he just gets the fake news in Washington to expose themselves for the snakes they are every day. But isn't it something that all on the same day, March 11th, the panic is freaking railed through the roof. The World Health Organization, Hollywood, and sports all coming together coincidentally on the same day, even though it had been out for however long, sending people off the rails. Exactly 6 months before 9/11. I bring that up because they love their symbolism. Exactly 9 years to the day from the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Who controls the narrative? The World Health Organization. Why is timing relevant? Define false flag. What events change the news cycle? Distraction psyops is the name of the game. Like going back to Kobe Bryant, for instance, who just happened to die the exact day that Trump's impeachment defense was about to air on every station across the world, with the coverage of it lasting the exact length of the trial. And like I said, there are a lot of shady things surrounding it. For one, the night before, he had literally just been passed by LeBron James in the all-time scoring list, which is like a huge deal. And LeBron was playing for the Lakers, Kobe's old team, and was in Philadelphia where Kobe grew up. If you look at his logo right here, it's just like all the World Health Organization, all the health organizations with the snake wrapped around the staff. Second of all, if you type in COVID and translate it to Hebrew, it translates to this. Now, if you go to translate it back from Hebrew into English, it translates to Kobe. Then there's this Nike commercial that he filmed. All right, so he's got a commercial where he blows up a helicopter. Then you have this tweet from 2012 where this guy said Kobe is going to end up dying in a helicopter crash, which is just really creepy. But, it was around that time that Kobe had started getting into helicopters. So I suspect this guy had read an article or something and is just speculating. So this might not necessarily be whatever. But look at this now. Here's a cartoon called Chamberlain Heights.
Oh, shit! It's Kobe Bryant!
Help me.
Just pass me the trophies and we'll pull you out.
Pass.
So I don't know. That's an awful lot of things, especially the COVID translating into Kobe right at the exact time that the COVID-19 virus is coming out. Couple that with his logo compared to the World Health Organization logo. Something just doesn't sit right with all this. And one last thought. So some people say, oh, well, they're handing it to Trump. Oh, why is that? That seems suspicious. How could they be messing up this much? You know, the Democrats have just been floundering, and everyone, all their deep state players have been kind of floundering and messing up for 2 years, 3 years straight now. And people say, it seems like too much. How could they be messing up this much? Why are they going with Biden? Well, one, they're going with Biden because none of their candidates had a chance. The only reason they're going with Biden is to somehow hope that hopefully him being attached to Obama can somehow get him in office. I mean, people still love Obama. And of course, look at him. He will be controlled. The vice president, whoever runs as vice president will be the president with him, or whoever people around him. And basically, you're electing the Illuminati if you vote for Joe Biden. And as far as all these people messing up and Pelosi constantly saying dumb things and Biden always saying dumb things and all this, you forget. They have never, ever had the spotlight on them like this. Never. You think Nancy Pelosi had to worry about what she said in a speech in 1989, 1995, 1998, 2002? Never. No one's who even knew her freaking name? All these people have flown under the radar. They have been phoning it in. They haven't had to worry about anyone watching anything they've done for years and years and years. And now, for 3-4 years, not only have people been watching them, people have been obsessively watching them, watching their every freaking word. This has never happened in the history of their careers. They have no plan for this. The only reason they got away with all this garbage is because no one was paying attention. They've never had to worry about fooling people. They're not equipped for this. And likewise, they are going down in flames. And I truly believe that this coronavirus, which just happened to be released right as Nancy Pelosi was for some reason curiously holding up, sending the impeachment papers over, waited just long enough for it to get to the United States, then hands them over. Once that blows up in their face, all of a sudden the coronavirus comes out. Give me a break. And the numbers do not suggest. I mean, they're acting like this is the Black Plague, straight up. But if they're going to shut things down, I would suggest calmly getting supplies, staying safe, and making sure you have enough stuff to get through this. Because while they're using their Roman circus, distract the public psyops, which is sport and entertainment world, to freak everyone out, behind closed doors in Congress, the Democrats are trying to lift Trump's travel ban on China. March 5th, 2020, Mr. Nadler from the Committee on the Judiciary submitted the following report together with dissenting views. And if you come down here, the bill would nullify several executive actions that restrict entry into the United States and govern eligibility for asylum or refugee status. Narrow the president's authority to impose entry restrictions on a class of aliens on the basis of their country of birth, nationality, and certain other characteristics. So while they're using their biggest guns to freak out the world, they're also trying to lift their travel bans. These people are not to be trusted. I mean, look at this. All within 2 days, Celine Dion all of a sudden thinks she has the coronavirus. Heidi Klum thinks she might have the coronavirus. Justin Trudeau thinks he might have the coronavirus. Now all sports are suspending their seasons. And I'll leave you with this. Careers at the CDC posted on November 15th, 2019, only 1 month before the coronavirus popped up out of nowhere, looking for public health advisors for a quarantine program in all the big cities of the United States. What incredible foresight by the CDC to put out a mass hiring call for a quarantine program 1 month before the coronavirus hits. This was their failsafe if impeachment didn't work, and it didn't. That's how sick these people are. So I hope you guys have a good day, and again, get the supplies you need, stay safe, and I have full confidence that we are in good hands with the Trump administration, and they will make sure that every one of us will be okay. Because where we go one, we go all.